Hi again guys, and welcome to another installment of Dirtmasters Unplugged, the series where we take a car which doesn't necessarily have a racing version currently featured on Gran Turismo, or maybe it does, but it ain't cool enough. Maybe you want something different, maybe you want something more powerful than the racing version. Now, in the case of this car, of course there is not a race car of it, there's not a rally car of it on the game, the Chevy Chevelle. Now this build is not a replica, but it is inspired by real life. It's actually inspired by the Baja racing Goodyear Grabber, as it's often nicknamed, an Oldsmobile 442 muscle car, which was then turned into, as I said, a Baja rally car. Bigger tyres, jacked up suspension, stripped out interior, tuned to over 500 horsepower. Now obviously we don't have an Oldsmobile 442 on Gran Turismo, so I've basically gone for the nearest thing in terms of design. Some people may feel differently, and of course you could apply this concept to pretty much any muscle car if you wanted to. I've chosen the Chevelle because it has a fairly similar size and shape. And as far as the visuals, with the colour, if you Google the image of the car and also from the thumbnail of the video, you can of course see what the car looks like, and we've got a similar kind of blue to that vehicle. Now the blue that I've gone for is incidentally French blue, which comes from the Lotus Europa. So if you want that colour, that's how you can get that one. And that's it for the visuals. All the rest is mechanical. So we'll run through that side of things first, and then of course we'll take it out on the dirt to see what a 500 plus horsepower jacked up rear-wheel drive muscle car can do. Now, as I said, this is not a replica, not by any means, but there is one thing that I've stuck to that the real world car has, and that is the power. The real Goodyear Grabber Oldsmobile is rated on the dyno at 508 horsepower. So, in honour of that, I've gone for that same power figure. However, you can go for whatever you want. As it happens, that feels pretty good for this car. It feels comfortable with 500 horsepower, especially with the lowered weight. And with a rear-wheel drive car, obviously you want to be careful how much power you give it off-road anyway, because more power does not equal more performance if you can't get the performance down to the dirt efficiently. So increase it if you want, but no guarantees that it will still be good. Now obviously you want dirt tyres or snow tyres if you plan on taking it there. I've upgraded the brakes to the race brakes, of course. As far as suspension, I've increased the ride height to the maximum level, front and rear. The springs and dampers, and also the anti-roll, I've actually reduced all the way down, basically. The front one I've rounded down to 475, but you could go all the way down if you want to. And the reason for that is I wanted this car to be, above all else, fun. I wanted it to be high off the ground, big, wallowy, but at the same time very fast. So you can really sway the car through the corners, feel the weight, but at the same time feel how quick it still is. Now as far as camber, as you can see I do have 1 degree, and that's primarily because it's rear-wheel drive. You could go for more or less, it feels pretty good with that, but of course it's down to personal driving style and experience. As far as the toe angle, I've got that on neutral. Again, if you want some, go for it if you want to, don't if you don't. As far as the gearbox, I've actually left it stock because it's not a top-end build, acceleration isn't that important to this tune, so I just left it with the stock 4-speed just as a novelty, really. As far as the diff, I've gone for the highest setting on all 3 for this particular car. But as always, feel free to try other settings, or alternately, if you already know what works better for you, of course go ahead and do that. As far as power, I already said 508 horses. To get that, I've gone for an oil change and then a stage 2 engine tune, and then reduce the power down, as you can see. Then as far as the weight, I wasn't able to find out how much the real Oldsmobile weighs, but considering how stripped out it is, it's probably quite a lot less. So I've just gone ahead and made use of that to make it as light as possible. And it really is pretty light. 1300 kilos for a car of this size is pretty good. So that's it for the tune, and of course there's a ton of variation in weight, power, gear ratios, whatever you want to change, go ahead and do that. But all that remains, of course, is to actually take it out on the dirt to see what it can do. Now, as I said, of course, and it pretty much goes without saying, this car is above all else just designed to be a novelty tune that's just fun. It's not designed to win rallying events or set best lap times, and of course on the road it's very slippery because it's not designed to be, so again, you can have a lot of fun with it. You can throw that weight around, have fun with the soft, bouncy suspension, and I have to say, even though it's not designed to be fast, it's actually not bad at all on the dirt. The 500 horsepower, as I said, for me personally feels perfect for this car off-road. It's enough to make it quick and to kind of overcome the disadvantage of rear-wheel drive, but at the same time it's not so much that you're just redlining all the time and basically having no traction. So, best of both worlds in between the two. So if you do decide to use this tune, or of course some variation thereof, I hope you have a lot of fun with it, and of course there are plenty more to check out on the channel. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.